All right, I just wanted to play a quick little video clip of a lady that is, what's the name of her channel? It's called Christy Berkey, 5 Passages That Caused Me to Lose My Faith. So I'm just going to play one verse that she has a problem with, and maybe I'll do a complete analysis of this entire video. But I thought it's interesting just to hear her take on why she lost her faith. And one of the reasons was because of this verse here. So let's just let her read it, and then I'll share my thoughts.
Objects of his wrath prepared for destruction. If he has decided he wants to create you just to destroy you, then he's going to do that. And that's his right. You don't get to question that. And realizing this changed everything about my perspective of God. Realizing this made me see a God who did not desire people to be saved, but instead creates people as puppets, does what he wants with them, and then tells them you're not allowed to question it. That is just in direct contradiction to any kind of a loving, kind Father God that I was taught growing up in the church. So I was fed one version of God who was a loving Father, but I'm learning about this completely different God who intentionally creates people to go to hell. That right there really shattered my perception of God. It really caused me to start this journey of questioning what I believed and why I believed it. The second passage that really caused me to question the Bible was Psalm 137:9, and you've probably heard it. It's a popular one that is used within the deconstruction community to really talk about these atrocities in the Bible, and it says this: "Happy is the one who seizes your infants and dashes them against the rocks." Now, it is really important to understand the context of this verse. This is what's known as an imprecatory prayer. It is praying evil against your enemies. It is a lamentation. It is an expression of grief. Basically, what this psalmist is writing is about how they were treated so badly by their enemies, and so they want to repay them for what they've done. And this is often justified by Christians in this way. Well, they were just expressing themselves. They weren't actually bashing babies into rocks. They just wanted justice. They wanted revenge. But my problem with that is that this is supposed to be the inspired word of God. God is supposed to be inspiring every word of this book. And God never condemned them for praying this prayer. He never said, hey, don't think that way. Don't be so vengeful. Don't be so angry.
All right, it's interesting that a person like this lady wants free will and stuff, but yet when somebody shares their thoughts, she's like, no, like why didn't God correct them? Why didn't God correct them? So I'm just going to share that chapter in Psalms that she read from the NIV, and this is, of course, the King James. I'm going to just share my thoughts on that. So, Psalm 137, Songs of Zion. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept. When we remembered Zion, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they carried us away captive, required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth. Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my joy. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. So at first glance, you can look at this and go, wow, she's right. Look at this. God's encouraging that from these people. But let's just break this down a little bit here. So what's happening here is many people from the tribe of Israel, Benjamin, most likely Levites, were being captured and were being taken to Babylon. And here we see that there's a description. They're by the rivers of Babylon, so they're in the strange land, where we sat down, yea, we wept, and we remembered Zion. So they're thinking about, and this is someone writing this psalm down. I'm not sure who wrote this exactly, but they basically took their musical instruments and hung them upon the willows in the midst thereof. So basically, as they're thinking about Zion, they hung up all their musical instruments. They're like, we're not singing. We're not excited about where we're at today. We're in mourning because we just got captured and we got shipped basically to Babylon via foot, of course, by foot. And you get their captors saying, sing us a song. Man, this is going to be a long trip. And we need some good music. Need some good hold-down music. You guys are good at singing, so give us some songs. Some exciting songs, because we need energy to make it all the way to Babylon. And they're basically saying, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? And they're remembering what has happened to Jerusalem in this psalm. And down here it says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even unto the foundation thereof. So if you know anything about Edom, they're the descendants of Esau, a twin brother of Jacob, someone that is related to Israel. And they would say this kind of a phrase, like, tear down Jerusalem. Tear it down. That's what it means when it says raise it, even to the foundation thereof. They're basically cheering the Babylonians on as they start ripping down all the buildings. They're cheering for them. And in fact, the Edomites actually captured escaping Israelites that were escaping to them, coming to them for help. They were coming to Ammon for help. They were coming to Moab for help. And what Edom did is they captured these people. And not only did they not keep them for themselves, which is one thing, but they took them to Babylon and sold them for maybe a new plow, maybe a sword, maybe some clothing, some furniture. They sold them to the Babylonians, saying, here, these ones have escaped, and I brought them to you for money. That's what the Edomites were doing. And some of them would be also guilty of sneaking in to Judah and pillaging empty homes, taking whatever furniture, clothing, whatever was left behind. And if they found any women with their kids, they would throw their kids down and kill their children. And they would do this. They would run them through with swords, all this kind of stuff, while the Babylonians were capturing the Israelites. And again, there were a bunch of Israelites that were escaping into Egypt, into Edom, into Ammon, into the northern parts, towards Damascus, towards I think it's Assyria, all these areas. They're trying to escape. In northern parts of Israel, they were fleeing, which makes sense when your city's being destroyed and your homes and everything, and then you get captured by a distant relative. And not only that, but they actually bring you to Babylon and sell you. So these are the conditions that was happening to Israel when this was written. So then they said, oh, daughter of Babylon, again, I believe referring to Edom. They're doing the same type of thing as what Babylon was doing. They're capturing them. And the Edomites are doing the same thing, who are to be destroyed. So Edom's going to be destroyed because of what they did. This is why God said, I hated Esau, because future tense, he knew what Esau was going to do to his people. And Jacob I loved. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. So as in, God's going to be satisfied to destroy you because you destroyed us. Obviously, it's revenge, but it's letting God take the revenge. And they're quoting this, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Meaning that this is where they're at. This is the bitterness that they're at. They witnessed their own children getting thrown against the stones, and they're basically saying one day God's going to take vengeance on you the same exact way. And the way that God uses vengeance and judgments is he brings another nation to do the same thing unto that nation. So any nation that came against Israel is going to be judged in that fashion, as in another mightier nation usually comes in and conquers them the same way that they conquered a nation. So if they threw women and children, if they cut women and children with the sword and threw babies against the stones, another nation's going to come by and do the exact same thing to them. That's all this is saying. And you can understand the bitterness that they have as they're witnessing their city being destroyed, and even encouraged by their distant relatives, the Edomites. So you can see why they're harboring this. Basically, they're saying, God, like, take vengeance on these people, is really what it boils down to. And now you can look at it and go, well, that doesn't sound very Christian. But like, this is a historical fact of what happened to a city in Israel, and this is exactly how people felt. They witnessed their children being thrown to a stone. Don't think you wouldn't wish the same thing upon somebody doing that to your children. Don't think you wouldn't say the same thing. But what they're not saying is, we want to do it. They're saying, God, take vengeance. Do to them exactly what they did to us. If they are kind to us, be kind to them. If they blessed us, bless them. If they cursed us, curse them the same way. That's all this is saying. So if you lose your faith because of this reading, then I don't know. I think there's something else going on in your heart that causes you to read something from a historical point of view of what people are feeling, and you can't sympathize. You can't say, you know what, I understand. I kind of get a grasp, even though I'm not there. I'm not back in time. But I can get a snapshot of, man, how horrible this situation was. To be not only witnessing your city being destroyed, your houses being burnt down, your women raped in front of you, your children being cast down, thrown against the rocks, murdered, and then you flee and you get captured by what you thought was your relative, and they take you to Babylon, and then they go and raid your home and rape and pillage your wives and kill your children, and are singing about it and encouraging others. Like, they're cheering. They're basically standing on the sidelines cheering the Babylonians as they do this. And then in that spirit, the Babylonians, as they're taking them away to Babylon, they're saying, hey, what were some of those cool songs that you used to sing that would just kind of uplift everyone? Sing us a couple of those. And these Israelites, they basically took their harps and put them in the bushes. And they said, no, we're not playing these happy songs. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you're making fun of us. You're asking us to play happy songs while our city is burning to the ground. That's what this psalm is about. If you get anything else out of this, like, this is not one of those things where you take an application, you go, okay, what do I do in this situation if my children get dashed to the stones? And, like, I don't know, sometimes we just reread things into here that's not there. And that's sometimes, you know, and again, I've been guilty of this, reading things that maybe are not there. But I usually put a preface saying, this is my thought on a verse. This is my idea, or whatever it is. And then it's my opinion, and then people can take it or leave it and talk about it or whatever it is. But you don't just drop your faith because you see one psalm, something happens in history, and you're like, oh, that's horrible. Wow, I am dropping that faith. That's craziness. It's a weird Spirit. It's a weird thing to say, and I feel sorry for this girl. Anyways, hopefully you got something out of that, and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments as well. Thanks for watching.